You wake up. You check your phone. Something feels off. You're breathing, but it's shallow. You get out of bed, but you don't feel grounded. You look at your to-do list, and every item feels like a threat. You tell yourself, I need to push through this. But your body disagrees. Your thoughts are loud, scattered, anxious. Your stomach feels tight. Your jaw clenches. You move through the day like you're being chased, but you don't even know what's after you. That right there is survival mode. And the truth is, most people are living from it not knowing that the very thing they're trying to achieve, confidence, strength, clarity, presence, is biologically impossible in the state they're currently trapped in. This is a conversation no one had with you growing up. Because the world teaches you to man up, try harder, stay disciplined, and power through. But it doesn't teach you how to notice the difference between a mind that's focused and a brain that's in fight or flight. You've probably confused stress for strength. You've probably mistaken anxiety for urgency. And in doing so, you've built your life strategies around coping mechanisms, not creative force. The result? You don't feel powerful. You might look put together, you might say the right things, but underneath it all, you feel like you're constantly one decision away from collapse. Let's be very clear. You can't feel powerful when your brain is in survival mode. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system isn't designed to create lead or connect when it thinks it's in danger. And that's exactly what survival mode is. A physiological condition in which your body prepares to fight, flee, freeze, or fawn, even when there's no real threat. It shuts down your ability to access vision, long-term thinking, curiosity, confidence, and ease. Why? Because it doesn't prioritize growth, it prioritizes safety. And in that moment, anything unfamiliar is seen as unsafe, even your own potential. This is where Carl Jung's work becomes essential. Jung taught that the unconscious mind controls more of our lives than we realize. And when we don't bring awareness to our inner landscape, we end up being lived by patterns we didn't choose. One of those patterns is the survival response. It becomes hardwired, not just through trauma, but through repetition. Every time you face a challenge and your brain goes into panic, every time you feel unworthy and shrink, instead of speak, every time you act from fear rather than choice, you reinforce the belief that life is dangerous and you are underprepared. Over time, this becomes your default. And here's the tragedy. You can't become the person you're meant to be while you're still living from that version of you who's just trying to make it through the day. You can't lead others when your own body doesn't feel safe. You can't radiate power when your nervous system is stuck in alarm, because that state survival mode is about protection, not projection. It pulls your energy inward, toward defense, toward minimization, toward freezing. It creates tension in your muscles, constriction in your breath, dullness in your presence. And most of all, it blocks your libido. Remember, in Jungian terms, libido is not just sexual energy, it's your life force, your will to expand, create, love, act, build, move. Survival mode puts that on hold indefinitely. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt completely safe in your own body? When was the last time you walked into a room and didn't overthink your presence? When was the last time you spoke from your chest and not from your throat? When was the last time you created something? Not to prove anything, but because you couldn't. Not. If you can't remember, it's not because you've lost your potential. It's because you've been taught to override your body's signals for so long that you no longer recognize what real power feels like. Power doesn't feel like tension. It doesn't feel like hustle. It doesn't feel like urgency. It feels like clarity, like space, like depth, like stillness, like presence. It feels like I'm here, and I don't need to force anything to prove that. But you can't access that while your brain is running survival scripts. Because when you're in survival, every interaction becomes a test. Every glance becomes a threat. Every conversation becomes a competition. Every moment becomes a chance to lose something. So what's the solution? First, awareness. You need to learn to recognize when you've dropped into survival mode. And here's how you'll know. You stop breathing fully. Your chest tightens. Your speech gets faster. Your thoughts become all or nothing. You lose curiosity. You forget your why. You start chasing control either through perfectionism, avoidance, or aggression. That's the sign. Your system thinks you're in danger, but you're not. You're just looping through a memory, a wound, or an old pattern. Second, pause. Don't fight it. Fighting a survival response only makes it louder. Instead, pause and name it. Literally say to yourself, I'm safe. I'm not under threat. This is just an old signal firing. That alone will shift your chemistry. Because when the conscious mind reassures the primitive brain, the whole system can start to relax. Third, breathe. Not from your chest, from your belly. Put one hand on your stomach and one on your heart. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4. Exhale for 6. Repeat 5 times. This resets your vagus nerve, the bridge between your brain and body. It signals safety. Fourth, movement. Survival mode freezes you. Shake it off literally. Stand up. Shake your arms. Shake your legs. Make noise. Move your hips. Let energy flow. You are not a statue. You are not a thought. You are a living organism with energy that must move. Don't underestimate this. Movement heals what thinking can't touch. Fifth, re-enter the world with presence. Don't rush to be productive. Just be here. Take up space. Make eye contact. Speak slower. Let silence exist between your words. Stop trying to fill every gap with effort. Power speaks loudest when it doesn't try. Now let me offer a deeper layer. Survival mode often becomes our identity because it gives us a sense of control. If I stay alert, I won't be caught off guard. If I stay tense, I'll be ready for anything. But this is a lie. Control is not power. Hypervigilance is not awareness. Anxiety is not intelligence. Your body was not designed to live in emergency. It was built to respond to emergencies and then return to peace. But many of us have never known that return. We live as if the war never ended, as if every mistake is fatal, as if every person might abandon us, as if we are always 1 second away from rejection. Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." To get out of survival mode, you must wake up from the illusion that your power depends on your performance. It doesn't. It depends on your presence, and presence begins in the body. It is rooted in the breath. It is expressed through the eyes, and it is sustained through awareness. Now, let's apply this to your life. Tomorrow, I want you to run an experiment. Before your next meeting, your next date, your next workout, take 2 full minutes to breathe deeply. Stand with your feet flat on the ground and feel your body. Ask yourself, am I trying to protect myself, or am I trying to express myself? Then move from expression. Speak not to survive, but to share. Walk not to escape, but to arrive. That one shift will change how people respond to you, because energy never lies. People don't follow confidence. They follow coherence. When your body voice and intention are aligned, that's coherence. And coherence can only happen outside of survival mode. It's the mark of a man who knows how to regulate his energy, own his space, and move from grounded certainty rather than reactive tension. So here's the truth. No one tells you power is not loud. Power is not aggressive. Power is not frantic. Power is calm. It's the calm of a nervous system that isn't ruled by fear. The calm of a man who has befriended his impulses. The calm of someone who trusts his own breath more than the noise of the world. If you want that, you don't need to change your personality. You don't need to become more alpha. You don't need to pretend to be dominant. You just need to get your brain out of survival. Because once you're no longer running from a threat that doesn't exist, you'll realize your natural state is already powerful. Not because you're better than anyone, but because you are fully you. No filters, no fear, just presence. So, let me leave you with this. What's one moment from today where you noticed yourself drop into survival mode, and how will you train your system to return to safety next time it happens? Share it in the comments. Your awareness is your liberation. We'll see you in video 5. Come with your nervous system grounded.